Today we are honored to welcome Erica Jones to the show today. I'm very excited to have her on. She talks about so many amazing health topics, and she has a great story. Like when we talk about becoming the greatest version of yourself, right? It's like many of us are entrepreneurs or high performers, or we're doing a lot of things, and essentially, it's difficult to stay on top of our health habits, right? So basically, learning how to navigate that skillfully and take control of our health is what she talks about. And I'm very happy to have her on, share her knowledge, her expertise, and her story with us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. So, very curious to hear your story, how you got into wellness, and everything you're doing to help people today.
Yeah, my story into wellness is very unconventional. I grew up in a traditional house, eating conventional food, conventional diet. I really had no encounter with wellness until after I graduated from university. I majored in biology, went to the University of Tennessee, and my first job out of school was a pharmaceutical is it was in pharmaceutical sales. I was working for the second largest pharma company in the world at the time. And I got into the job thinking that I was really going to help people with their health, with their wellness. And when I got into it, I realized that it was much more about marketing the drugs than it was about actually helping people get healthy. And so I was very disillusioned by that. And at the time, my husband was actually living in the same city as me. We were in Orlando at the time. And I met him through one of the events that I was attending at the local church that I was at. And he was the one that brought me into health and wellness. He, at the time, was a functional health doctor in the area and was trying to get the word out about the practice that he was in and had a ton of knowledge, just absolutely inspirational about the whole health and wellness world. So it was a complete paradigm shift for me, realizing that that was what I was looking for. I wanted to support people and help people with their health for the long term, but going about it through the pharmaceutical industry wasn't the way. And so he and I fell in love. We got married, and we actually launched our virtual health practice back in 2010. And we have since then been coaching and training doctors on how to launch what we did for their own virtual practices. So we've been doing that now for going on 16 years. And so that initially was my introduction into the wellness world.
It's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. It's like we try to get into the business of helping people. A lot of us take the conventional route. We go with big pharma, we go with the drugs and all these things. And we mean
Yeah.
very well usually. And we find that it doesn't actually get the results we're looking for. And it sounds like that's kind of happened for you in a sense.
Yeah, it totally was. I knew immediately, it was very quickly after I got into that role that this wasn't what I wanted to be doing. So I was really dealing with a moral conflict of what is it that I want to be doing, because the whole world of holistic health and wellness was not known to me at the time. So I just felt like it was from divine providence that I met Isaac at the time that I did, and we started our business and have been going strong ever since. Absolutely love what we do.
Love it, yeah. It can be such an epiphany when we actually discover wellness, right? It's like, oh, this is
Yeah.
what's possible. And oh,
Yes.
it's like an infinite journey, and I remember it's so exciting once you actually find out, oh, this is what's real, and then we kind of go along that path.
Absolutely. It really is a whole different world and a whole different way of doing things. But once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? It opens up a whole new way of doing life.
100%. So you work a lot with high performers. So what are some common issues that you see when it comes to taking control of their health and some ways to address it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I work a lot with my husband inside of our business, and all of the doctors that we work with and coach, I would consider high performers. My husband and I are high performers. High performers are unique in that they're people who are often highly ambitious. They're high capacity. They have big dreams. They have a big mission. They have a calling, whether that's an entrepreneur, an executive, or somebody who's in like a corporate career, or even a stay-at-home mom who is homeschooling kids. I'm one of those. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm bivocational, but I homeschool kids as well. So when I say high performer, it really encompasses a high capacity person in any way you kind of want to look at it, how they do life. And the thing that a lot of people struggle with when they classify themselves as, hey, I'm a high performer, is finding the time and the bandwidth to prioritize the things that all of us say that we value, like our health and our relationships and our mental and emotional well being. When you are driving hard towards building a business, or you have kids underfoot all day and you're trying to create a certain environment in your home, or you are trying to climb to the next promotion in your career or your job, those things that are tangible, like the emails that need to get sent, or the PowerPoint that needs to get done, or the project that you're working on, these tangible things that we can see in front of us can oftentimes speak the loudest, but it's really the intangibles. It's our health, our wellness, our relationships, which encompass all of that. These intangible things are really the support system that fuel everything else. So when I think about high performers, entrepreneurs, it's easy. It was easy for my husband and I when we were first starting our business to clock in, 60 plus hours a week, especially when we did not have kids. It was easy because we had a lot of time to be able to do that. But if you do that and do that and do that week after week, what it does is it drains your energy reserves. Your body is in fight or flight mode. You're high stress. And then what happens is your energy starts to crash. Your brain gets foggy. Your ability to think on your feet and be creative becomes stifled in a way. And so for people who are ambitious, they have a lot to get after in life, or they really need to think on their toes and be at their best every single day, it is not just wise, it's imperative for them to prioritize their health, because that's the only way that they're going to have the foundation to support everything else that they want to do. So my passion and my goal is to help these entrepreneurs, these high performers, ambitious people identify, how do I weave wellness into my daily life without it becoming another chore, another thing that I have to do, a big, massive effort that I don't have time for? How do we make it feel good and feel like it's something that's supportive?
Yeah. I love how you mentioned that. It's great information. It's like these intangibles that you see, it's really building a foundation of a successful life. Like these internal
Yes.
habits that we do to kind of have resilient energy, right? Like to become the greatest version of ourselves every single day. That's what you really see, at least outside success.
Yes, absolutely. So the outside success is what a lot of people see and chase, and it's there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money, to build your dream, to live a life that you love. I think everybody has a right to that and should pursue that. At the same time, we don't want to neglect the intangibles on the way to getting there. So when I think about wellness, I have a very holistic view of that. I don't just think about, your nutrition and your exercise. I think about 9 domains of life. How are things going with my spiritual life, with my finances? Because if my money's not healthy, then that also can impact things. There's so many people who are dealing with tons of stress over their finances, or their health issues have bankrupted them. So I love to extend the definition of wellness even beyond outside just fitness and hydration. It's really looking at the full picture of life so that we can, as you said, become the best version of ourselves year after year. Because that's what I'm after, and I'm sure your listeners are as well.
I love that. Makes a lot of sense. Now,
Yeah.
when it comes to high performers, do you find that they already value their health in a sense, but it's really difficult for them to perhaps stay on top of habits, or is it kind of both? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think that a lot of people want to believe that they value their health. That's something that we all say that we want, right? But there's a difference between valuing this in actuality and being in love with the idea of valuing it. So the people that actually value it are making the time and the space and they're prioritizing it. Those that are in love with the idea of it, they want to create the space and the time, but they don't actually value it yet because they haven't made that space. So I think the challenge for a lot of high performers and entrepreneurs is that they haven't figured out a way to make the space for what they want to value, because it just seems like in order to be healthy, I have to maybe go to like Brian Johnson levels of fitness and biohacking and doing all of the tracking, and I have to overhaul my diet in a weekend. I feel like the way that we've done wellness, the way that we've projected it to people, is that it's really unattainable. And so a lot of high performers feel like, well, if that's what it means to be healthy, like I can't even, I'm just trying to keep my schedule in order today. I'm trying to keep myself from not falling apart from all the things that I have to do. So now you're telling me that I have to do a marathon morning routine and cold plunge and meditate for 2 hours and, not eat anything that's from an animal, then I can't do that. And so a lot of people will throw it out before they even get started. So I like to help them find the low hanging fruit. First of all, we don't have to do all of that. We don't have to go to Brian Johnson level. He's in a league of his own. For people that are like me and like you, they can go for the low hanging fruit. The thing that's easy to do, not the massive effort, but what's the one thing that you can do today that moves you closer towards your goal and actually gets you in the game of valuing your health because you're actually doing something, you're taking action versus just sitting on the sidelines. So I like to help people get on the court and play the game.
Yeah, makes sense. I love that. It sounds like they maybe value their health, but they're not really backing it up with their action in a sense, right? And
Yes.
then you also mentioned perhaps that we think we have to take this like undeniably massive action and everything, right? But it's really about the small steps that create real habits, right? It's about making progress, not being perfect, and these small
Yeah.
habits that really kind of add up and build that forward momentum.
Yes. I think that is hard for high performers because a lot of high performers are also high achievers. They can be perfectionists. They can be all or nothing. We're going hard or we're not going at all, that kind of thing. So when you come in and say, well, actually, you just need to do baby steps or it doesn't take that much effort. Just do the next best step, the small thing that you can be consistent with. That for a lot of high performers feels like, well, if I'm not being super intense, like, does it really count? I struggled with this mentality for years. I have battled with perfectionism. I like to call myself a recovering perfectionist. But one thing I would love for people to understand is that it's not so much the intensity, it's more about the consistency. And so if I say, I'm going to work out every single day of the week and it's going to be an hour every time, well, if I'm starting at ground zero, that's probably going to be hard for me to be very consistent with. I might do like a good week or two of that, but then I'll fall off. So this is why you have people on and off the bandwagon year after year. They get on, they fall off, they get on, they fall off. It's because we've been conditioned to think that a Herculean massive effort is the only way to get started with your wellness, when actually no, that's not the game. The game is to find the thing that you can be consistent with and start there. And once you're consistent, you get rep after rep after rep. Something shifts with your identity. Something shifts with how you see yourself. So if I give that workout example, for me personally, I'll give a personal example. I struggled to be consistent with my fitness routine for years and years and years. As we had more kids, we have 4 kids now, I just struggle to find the time. And in my brain, I said, it only counts if I go to the gym, if I'm in there sweating and training for at least an hour, and that's the way that I have to do fitness. Well, after being on and falling off and on and falling off year after year after year, I finally said, you know what? I am going to figure this out this year. And so when I started to look at my fitness routine, I was like, what I'm doing isn't working. I need a routine that I can do at home from my home because I'm too busy to drive to a gym every day. I need something that I can do within 30 minutes of time, and I need it to be open and go. I don't want to have to sit there and think about, is this leg day? Am I doing arms today? What workouts am I doing? Do I need dumbbells or kettlebell? Like, what do I need? I wanted none of that. So what I did was I built myself a little home gym at home, like super simple, just some dumbbells and some kettlebells. And I got an app that I like, a fitness app that I can just open and go every time I want to use it. The workout is pre-scheduled for me. I don't have to spend time researching or looking on YouTube for a workout. It's already there. And then I come outside my office and I work out from the comfort of my own home. And once I put those pieces together and stopped trying to fit myself into this, you have to go to the gym every week in order to work out, it changed for me. I was actually able to be consistent. And with the consistency over time, it changed my identity. It changed how I saw myself. So I went from seeing myself as a person who hates workouts, I'm never consistent, I'm always missing the mark, I'm on and I'm falling off. That changed for me. I changed to see myself as a person, I never miss a workout because I've primed my environment so that it's easy for me not to miss a workout. So I said that to say, for high performers, busy people, high capacity folks, you have to find a way to make wellness work with your life. And it has to be realistic and workable for you. Not something that you see on Instagram, not what's working for Brian Johnson or whoever out there who has tons of time, hours and hours a day to devote to wellness. It's got to work for you in your real life. And so that's what I love to help people find and figure out is how can I make wellness work for me?
I love that. Yeah. Consistency is so important. It's like, you kind of mentioned stacking the conditions in your favor, right? Like we have so
Yes.
many different things that are working against us, and it just makes it so much harder to create habits. So kind of doing what you can to optimize your environment is really important, which is something that it sounds like you implement as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, Anthony, when I first started getting my fitness routine together, I did not go from where I was to building this home gym and then I'm, super consistent with that. I started with 5 minute a day workouts. I said, can I be consistent for 5 minutes a day? And this was just like, I'm going to do squats. I'm going to do push-ups. I'm going to do jumping jacks. I'm just going to do something for 5 minutes a day so that I can be consistent. And people might say, oh, well, you're not going to change your body in 5 minutes a day. It's not going to benefit you in 5 minutes a day. Well, maybe I'm not going to see massive transformation. You're right. But over time, what happened was that 5 minutes a day grew to what it is now, which is 30 minutes a day, 30 to 40 minutes a day, consistently, many times a week, 3 to 4 times a week of working out, of fitness, of movement. And it's all about starting from a place that feels doable instead of a place that feels like, oh my gosh, this is another thing I'm adding in. It's a chore. So I really encourage people to start with the low hanging fruit.
Yeah, what we're doing is we're building the habit of showing up, right? Which in of itself
Yes,
is a habit. And once you got that down, you can actually build on top of that. Like it's a habit stacking in a sense.
absolutely. So that's one of the main things that I think a lot of people are missing, along with a second one I'll talk about is just keeping your routine strategic. So I'm kind of getting into what I call the Elevate method or framework, but the first piece of it is keeping it simple. So that's where you're accessing the low hanging fruit. You're doing something that feels easy. It's still it's challenging, but it's easy in the sense that you can see yourself doing it each day. It makes it easy for you to show up, as you said. The second piece where people really struggle is they're not strategic with their wellness routine. So these days we have social media, so you can see what everyone out there is doing on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, all of these different platforms. And so what people will do is they'll see some influencer out there who's being paid to promote this red light therapy device. I have nothing against red light therapy. I love it. I use it regularly. But they'll see something like this and they'll say, I'm going to go and buy that. And so they buy it and it's not a strategic move for them. Let's say that person's main problem is that they've got weight to lose or they're dealing with hormone issues. Your best bet, if that's you, it's not to buy a red light therapy device. It's to focus on your nutrition, Focus on your movement if it's an issue of weight loss. If it's a hormone thing, I would be getting functional health testing to help me understand what is going on at the cellular level. What are the things that I need to move the needle on in order to correct that? So I think the strategic piece of it is also really important because we do live in a world where we're being marketed to constantly. And if you're privy to different wellness products and devices, I love the biohacking devices. I use some of them, but I think people like to jump there first without having a foundation with the basics. And it's a bad strategy because that's not where you're going to get the most leverage and the most result if you're someone who is just starting out or you need to lay that foundation. So that's another piece that I think is important, is that people are strategic with where they're starting.
Yeah, that's right. I noticed that as well. Like, we want to get into wellness, we go off for all these fancy things, but we haven't even mastered the fundamentals, right? Which is really a process of health creation, is mastering the basics, just like anything, honestly.
Yeah, it is. And, it's funny because when I come on podcasts, people will ask, what are your wellness tips? And I'm like, they're boring. They're things that people know to do, but they don't necessarily always do. So when I talk about hydration and how important it is to get enough water each day, I fill up at least 2 of these a day for proper hydration. People kind of think, yeah, I know I'm supposed to drink water, but if you're not actually doing it, you're not getting the benefit of it. I talked to someone just the other day who my husband had recommended to him that he needed to really increase his hydration as a first step because he is new to health and wellness and kind of wanted to know one of the first places to start. So he came over the other day and he was like, you would not believe. He was like, I just started drinking water. He's like, my digestion has totally done a 180. He's like, I used to wake up so constipated. He was like giving lots of information about his digestive system, but it was really impactful and powerful to hear that by something super simple, like proper hydration like that, a lot of times it can create leverage and move the needle on major health issues that people are having, whether it's from digestive issues or you're dealing with pain or you're dealing with hormone problems. This right here, the water, it is so important for proper cell signaling and cellular function. And it's a piece that a lot of people just kind of skip over because it does sound boring because of how basic it is. But that's why I really talk about this stuff as much as I do, because the basics are the foundation for all of the fun, sexy things like the biohacking and all of that. If you don't have the foundation, then those other extras, they just don't have as much impact.
100%. Yeah, these small habits every day that really create foundational health. It's so important to do. Something I was thinking about. So when you work with high performers, do you notice that the habits that created them to be a high performer in whatever it is, do you kind of relate those same character traits in order to kind of create wellness habits as well to like make it more fitting in their mind?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some cross contextual aspects of character traits that you find in a high performer that can definitely be leveraged for their health and wellness. For example, a lot of high performers are big achievers, so that means that they like to set goals. So if I were working with someone who, let's say, was just starting out, or they're wanting to really upgrade their attention to their health and wellness, I would start with asking them what is the vision, what's the picture that they see for themselves. Visionaries, entrepreneurs, high performers are often very visionary people. So if they can see a picture in their mind's eye of what they look like, how it feels to be in the new body that they're in, what does it feel like to wake up in the morning? How is your energy? How are you functioning throughout the day? What about your mental clarity? Where is that at? So getting a vision or a picture, which a lot of these high performers, entrepreneurs can easily do because they use those same assets in their brain for their business, that translates over into wellness. And then from there, you can easily break down those goals into what's tangible and bite-sized for the day today. So I personally love to gamify my health and wellness. So if I'm like I'm going hard on a specific goal, I will use a tracking app or device so that I can check off. It's kind of like a dopamine hit. I don't know if you've ever used a project manager like Asana or something like that, but when you hit that check mark on a task that it's done, it's like, wow, I got that done. So it's a dopamine hit. So for people who are achiever oriented, having them paint the vision, bring that vision into tangible habits, routines that they can use on a daily basis, and then gamifying that by allowing them to see progress on those habits day to day. I find that that is a great way to get started and really get them engaged and in the game. So those are a couple of ways that people who are used to achieving can use those same great qualities in a context that applies to their health.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like getting clarity on where you are and where you want to go is really important. Like having a strategy, right? And
Yes.
it kind of like builds that forward momentum. Once you start to see this progress within yourself, it just kind of creates this inspiration in this virtuous circle. Like, let's do more. Like, what else can I do?
Yeah, I think that's huge. And so, like you said, painting the picture, I think so many people don't realize that they're not super clear on what they want because getting healthier, quote unquote, getting healthier, that's not a real, that's not a an empowering goal, if you will. It's very vague. It's not specific. Every entrepreneur that has done any kind of development or personal training knows that when you're creating a goal, you're creating a vision for your future, you want it to be specific, action oriented. It's a SMART goal: specific, measurable, action oriented, real, and timed. So if my goal doesn't sit inside of that framework, then it may not really move me towards engaging with it. So rather than kind of sitting back and resting on, I just want to get healthy, maybe I paint a picture of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds by the time summer comes along so that I can look amazing on the beach and feel really good in my body. And I'm going to do it by, and that's where we start talking about how it looks in their daily life. I'm going to do it by starting with 10-minute walks a day. Start somewhere. Some people may say, well, that's nothing. We'll just start somewhere. And then, like you said, as you show up, you build that consistency. That's when the momentum starts to build and you start seeing results. And you're saying, oh, well, if I can do 10 minutes a day, I could probably do 20 or 30 minutes a day. Well, if I can do that, then maybe I can really start getting my nutrition under control and looking at what I'm eating. So it's really kind of like a snowball that as you start it, it's small, but as you keep building and building and building and building, that snowball gets huge. And now you've got something big to work with and you start seeing results, and that just continues to feed into the consistency and the vision and everything else that you're working toward.
Yeah, that makes sense. Setting specific goals, right? Because a lot of us, we just set these vague goals and it doesn't really get us anywhere, right? It's like, I love that smart work. I mean, the SMART goals. I think that's really
Yes.
popular. I use that as well. And it's like
Yeah.
being able to, filter your goals and your decisions through your values and just kind of like understanding the why as well. It kind of, it creates like a synergy, which makes it much more likely going to accomplish that thing.
Exactly. And I think that's the key, is that it has to be something that you can accomplish and something that you're motivated to do. And so I find that creating that vision and setting the SMART goal, I think I said that the A in SMART was action, but it's actually achievable. That rang a bell as you were saying, achievable. That's what's important as well, because if it's not achievable, then you can't be consistent with it. And then if you can't be consistent, then you can't get the transformation and the result that you're looking for. So that's why that piece is super important.
100%. So I know, like, when it comes to these wellness practices, like a lot of us know what to do, as you mentioned, but it also can be somewhat confusing because there's so much information. I mean, that's something I hear on a regular basis. It's like, how
Yeah.
do I actually know what is real and what isn't? And I like to say it's all about listening to your inner guidance, right? doing what is right for you, personalizing your journey, and just listening to the inner knowing. And it's also a process in of itself, right? Just kind of like doing some experimentation, see what works and what doesn't, just make that progress every single day.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that people who are perfectionists, high achievers, they tend to want to just be perfect right out the gate. And this journey, this wellness journey is one of those things where perfection is not it's not really ever achieved. I feel like wellness is that mountain without a top. I love that you said at the beginning of the show how you want to get better and better, be a better and better version of yourself every single year. I have the same mindset about my own life. So if I approach every facet of my life that way, then wellness becomes a mountain without a top. So this means that I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly iterating, I'm constantly tweaking and changing, not daily, but year after year, I'm getting better. So for people who are feeling overwhelmed with all of the information out there, what can be easy is to kind of get lost on these rabbit trails of should I be vegan? Should I do carnivore? Should I do paleo? Kind of getting into the minutia of all these different nutrition plans or different wellness advice out there. And sometimes people feel paralysis, the analysis paralysis, because there's so many choices and I don't know which one is the right one. And rather than making a choice that's not perfect, I'm just not going to make one at all. So here's what I'd say don't worry so much about making the perfect choice. However, you start on your wellness journey is not going to be how you end. You're going to learn more. You're going to find different things that work for you. Maybe a certain nutrition plan works for someone over here, but it doesn't work for you. The only way you're going to know is if you get on the court, get in the game and try something. And then you'll see, okay, I feel great on this plan, or no, I don't. We've tried probably every nutrition plan out there. I mean, just in our quest of experimentation, trying new things, iterating along the journey, we've tried so many things. And so I would encourage anyone who's feeling that overwhelm is to just pick a course of action, step onto the court, get into the game, and don't worry about it being perfect. Don't worry about, oh, well, I'm doing this nutrition plan, but now I saw on Instagram this girl, this influencer saying that this is the worst way to eat and blah, blah, blah. I would not put too much stock into that. Just try something, commit to it for a specified period of time, decide if it works for you. And if it doesn't, it's okay. Just tweak it or throw it out. Try something different. So that would be my encouragement to people feeling that as someone who has been on the wellness journey for 15 plus years. It's really not as serious as you think it is when you start talking about different nutrition plans and diets. The most important thing is that you just take action, even if it's not perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like getting in the game and it's going from there, right? It's like that's how progress is made, and you learn as you go, right? It's not about it being perfect. It's like a lot of learning happens in progress, like while you're taking the action, right? And just being able to get better every single day and understanding that it's always a journey, right? And just also owning this moment, right? Like enjoying the process and understanding that there's also another level as well.
Yeah, I love that you said enjoying the process, because if it becomes something where it's super stressful, I mean, I went through in 15 years of wellness, you kind of experience the highs and lows of it all. I went through periods where I was super obsessive about food, like to an unhealthy point where I would stress out about different ingredients. I couldn't really enjoy myself going out to a restaurant. All of it felt super high stress. So I love that you said the words enjoy yourself, because wellness should be enjoyable. It should feel supportive to our lives. It should add value to us. It should not be something that feels extremely stressful, like a chore, something that yes, there's discipline that comes into it. Do I always want to do my workout? No, but I do it anyway. But I do think that if we look at it from an overall all picture, can we find the joy in it? The overall answer we need to be leaning towards is yes, because if it's not that, and it's creating stress and misery and overwhelm and all of these things, then we need to change it because it shouldn't be doing that for us.
Yeah, it's so important just being able to enjoy the process and just kind of understand that being stressed about it is actually not healthy in of itself. So
It's true. That's one of the things I had to realize years ago when I was stressing about food. Oh, this isn't healthy. This is not adding value to my life. So I need to change my approach and my perspective around this.
yeah. So I know like we talked about basics a little bit, but is there anything that really sticks out to you that people can start to take action on? Like, also I know that it's going to be probably dependent on an individual and the starting place, but when you're working with people, like what are some keystone habits that would be beneficial to take on a day-to-day basis?
Well, one of them that I mentioned previously is the hydration. I think that's so fundamental. I coach and train people to invest in a good water bottle. It can be glass or stainless steel, but you want to be drinking half your body weight in ounces a day. And these days, they have all kinds of amazing electrolyte powders that are flavorful and tasty that help to flush the water into the cells, which is really important for optimal hydration. So, a lot of people will just guzzle and guzzle water, but the cellular system is not being properly hydrated because you need salt, you need electrolytes for the body to use the water as optimally as it can. And so you'll notice a difference from drinking water without it versus water with it. So I highly recommend that. I fill a water bottle every single night before bed. I put it on my bedside. It's the first thing I drink in the morning before coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker anyway, but if I did, I would be drinking this before coffee. So just by doing that alone, you can see huge improvements in all kinds of health issues, especially if you're not really drinking water at all. So that's a huge foundational piece. Another one that I'll add that I think is very important for high performers is creating space in the day for a wind down. This is so important because high performers tend to be firing on all cylinders all throughout the day. They get up in the morning, they're on, it's go time, they're tasking, they're working in their business, maybe they're managing a bunch of kids at home, whatever it is. Then evening comes, and what a lot of people do, instead of letting themselves wind down in that time, they'll kind of go back into business mode. They'll start working on that project or checking emails or Slack for the last time, or maybe they'll get on Amazon or social media or whatever it is. And the challenge with this is manyfold. One of them is that it doesn't allow your brain to rest. And when people are pushing their mental capacity to the limit from morning till night every single day, that's one of the fastest ways to run straight into burnout. And this is why a lot of high performers, entrepreneurs, people of that nature face burnout easily. The second problem with this is that if you are to optimize sleep, you need to prepare your body for the sleep. So many people complain of low energy. They don't feel rested when they wake up. They wake up in the morning, they still feel tired, they feel groggy. Maybe they're dealing with brain fog throughout the day. Their mental clarity just isn't there. They don't feel as sharp as they want to. They don't feel as productive or as focused as they want to. Well, all of that preparation starts the night before. It starts with your bedtime routine. So if I'm sitting there on my phone, I'm scrolling or I'm on emails or I'm looking at the news all the way up until bedtime, the second my head hits the pillow, we expect our bodies to just go to sleep. Well, that's not how the human body works. Our bodies need wind down time. And back in the old days, before electricity, we had this built in because the sun would go down, people would light candles, and we would do everything by candlelight. So by nature, the body had a built-in wind down system because of the culture that we were living in. That's changed drastically now. We can be on screens up until all hours of the night, all night if we want to be. So the problem is not just that the brain is still in problem solving mode. It's this actual brain wave state. I think it's alpha, where you're still in problem solving task mode. So your brain is in the wrong state heading into bed. But then the other aspect of this is that all of that light being emitted from your screens in your face is suppressing melatonin secretion, which is a hormone that helps your body to sleep. So you have this perfect storm of, I've been going all day. My mental capacity is at the limit or over. My physical capacity is at the limit or over. And now I am on this screen that is disrupting my melatonin secretion because I am looking at social media or whatever it is. And then I hit the pillow at night and I wonder why, man, I am struggling to fall asleep, or I'm struggling to stay asleep, or I wake up in the morning and I can't really get up and go. Like I don't have the energy. It all starts with the wind down routine the night before. So I highly, highly encourage high performers, achievers, high capacity people. You need time at night to decompress the day, to just let all of it go. Let the tension go, let the mental stress go, the physical stress. Set your devices aside and really give your brain and your body a chance to reset. I love to do this by running a hot bath. I love that with essential oil. I'll put essential oil in there. I'll read by candlelight. That's something that you can do. If you like to journal, you can do that. That's a great way to release any mental stresses from the day. You can buy, we have a sauna at home. You can buy them now. You can get them relatively inexpensively, but you can sauna at night. That's a great way to flush toxins from the body and also help yourself to relax. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do, but it's very important so that you are able to start the next day feeling your best and optimizing at the highest level.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. It's not just what you do, but it's how you do it, right? And
Yeah.
you mentioned like that downtime. It's so important. It's like it's being able to give yourself a space to think and process things, to take the right actions every day, kind of like refill your energy. And it's so important just to take a positive action on a day to day basis.
Yeah, you definitely want to have a cadence of what I call non-negotiables. I have non-negotiables I do every week, and one of them's hydration. One of them's my wind down. My fitness routine is part of that. My family time is part of that. That also is a huge aspect of wellness because if my relationships are not, if they're not functioning well, then that's affecting my health. That's creating stress, mental, emotional. So I have non-negotiables that I say every week, come hell or high water, we're doing these things so that we have a good foundation.
Yeah. Relationships are so important as well. It's like thinking about holistic health, like how
Yes.
everything is connected. Just like, when it comes to personalize your journey, like what do you need? Or just going back to the awareness, like that power of self assessment and
Yes.
just taking that action um, and getting those small wins every day.
Yeah. And so if someone wants to kind of think about the holistic perspective on wellness, there's 9 domains that I really think wellness touches beyond just fruits and veggies and fitness, that kind of thing. So I kind of touched on it earlier, but I think about spiritual health. I think about relational health. This includes your love relationships or your family relationships, however people want to look at that. Your money is one of them. Mind and personal development is another one of them. So thinking about your stress levels, your mental capacity. This is why screen-free time, having space every day without your phone is really important for your mental and emotional health. Another aspect is your community. So how are you how are you showing up? Do you have community? These days, a lot of people don't. You can essentially live in your house and do everything virtually, and your groceries are brought to your door. You don't have to see people every day, but we know that in centurion communities around the world, this is where people live to 100 and older routinely. One of the key components of their longevity is their community. The fact that they have strong family relationships, friendships, they have people that they see on a regular basis. That is a huge aspect of health. And it's not coincidence that multiple blue zones, that's what they call these areas where people are living to be over 100, these blue zones have this in common, the community. So that's another aspect. And then one more that I'll share is hobbies. I think this is a lost art these days. People don't have hobbies anymore. And if they're entrepreneurs or high performers, they're spending most of their time working. And if they're not working, a lot of folks are just kind of on their phones or on their devices or in front of a TV or screen. There is a lot of wellness and health that comes from having hobbies that are outside of these things. Whether it's getting outdoors and going for a bike ride or a walk in the woods, or if you're someone like me, I love puzzles, I'm learning to play the piano. These are some hobbies that I have that really disengage me from my work brain and actually help me to use a different part of my brain, my creative brain. It's so enriching to my life. So I really encourage people, if you don't have a hobby, that's another area you can use to benefit your wellness, because disengaging, I kind of think of it as play. When you are able to disengage fully from your work, from all of the things that you do in a day to make money or build business, or if you're a mom, you're taking care of kids or whatever, your brain needs time to disengage from that stuff so that you can come back and be refreshed. And hobbies serve as a wonderful way to create access to that.
100%. Yeah, just building that power of community and these empowering connections around you, and it can kind of act as accountability as well. It's so important to have, and also being able to live in the flow in a sense, like doing these things that you actually are passionate about and bring you joy. It's like it's very fulfilling as well, because a lot of us, we kind of just get disconnected.
Yeah, yeah. So I would encourage anyone listening, if you have things that, let's say before you started your business or before you started that corporate job, and you used to love, let's say, going hunting or something like that, or you used to love gardening, and you just haven't done that because of whatever happened in life, and those things brought you so much joy and fulfillment. I would encourage you to find a way to create space to add that back in, because we're not just sitting here trying to live life just to make money each day and provide for ourselves. We are also looking to enrich our lives and find joy and meaning in the life that we live each day.
Yeah, so important.
Yeah.
All right, Erica, this has been really awesome. I appreciate you so much for coming on the show today, sharing your story with us and all your insights. Just being able to learn how to navigate entrepreneurship, or just like becoming the greatest version of ourselves, right? It's about reaching our full potential in a sense.
Yes.
And these habits are going to be applicable to everyone, because it it's not easy, right? It's like going through these challenges and all these obstacles. It's like navigating that, I believe, is to forge the character that is
Yes.
going to build the foundation to live the life that we're meant to lead. So again, I appreciate you, and this has been really fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So if people want to get connected with you and all your work, where can we find you?
You can find me at elevays.com. It's Elevays. It's ELEVAYS.com. And that's a play on words because we're helping people to live elevated days. But you can check me out there. I have my own podcast that I launched earlier this year. And I also have my Wellness Without Limits audio challenge for anybody that is looking to get those basics and lay that foundation.
I love it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.